Hi, everyone, and welcome to Golf's Next Gen, the official podcast of the American Junior Golf Association. My name is Tim Jackman. I'm the Vice President of Communications. That over there is Thomas Harrison. He is Director of Tournament Operations, and then Justin is back there messing with the cameras and audio, and he's our producer. So welcome to Episode 2 of Season 2. Thomas, how are you?
Doing great, Tim. Happy to be back. Ready to get things rolling on Season 2. Very excited about our guest today. I know we've been trying to get Mr. Miles Russell himself on the podcast for a while, so glad the scheduling worked out and we were able to get him on.
He's a hard man to nail down. He's got a lot going on, actually.
Busy guy, Tim.
Very busy guy. Okay, what did you bring to the table today? Let's talk.
So I want to talk about just a couple weeks ago at the Mexico Open. One of our favorite juniors we've had in a while, Mr. Aldrich Potgieter, the South African wonder child. Yeah, you like that? That was good. Practice that one.
I actually don't think that's what it actually sounds like, but that's the
Could you give us a little?
I'm pretty sure it's more like
here?
Potgieter or something. I mean, it's a little bit. There's a little something going on.
I'm sure it's going to sound great over car audio. But no, he played in the Junior President's Cup just a couple years ago for us and made some noise on social media there with just the ball speed, the club head speed. Yeah. I mean, just absolutely destroys drives. So there was a cool video on the broadcast when he's hitting Adam Scott's driver. And Nota Begay actually mentioned what they failed to mention in their show in the video is that drive actually went over the back net of the range and into somebody's yard. So can just hammer the golf ball, but 20 years old, just got his tour card, graduated from Korn, Ferry last year. Finds himself in a playoff here at the Mexico Open. And Tim, I don't know if you watched that playoff live, but the tee shot that Brian Campbell hit on that second playoff hole was actually insane. The fact that he got the bounce he did, for those of you who haven't seen it, he hits this drive that's like, it's one of those that it's not like, oh, it may be out of bounds right. It's like, that ball's gone.
Bye.
Like, see ya, that ball is slicing faster, like could not get off the face of the plant fast enough.
That's what I look like.
Yeah, like you have to try to make a golf ball do that. Hits the tree, comes back in, ends up winning in a playoff. And I think it's just crazy, like how golf is a sport where those bounces can just mean so much. Like he played an unbelievable tournament, absolutely deserved to win. That's huge for him in his career. But it's just crazy looking at some of those things being like, wow, that ball's an inch right or an inch left, kicks differently off that tree, and it's a different story.
He doesn't win, right. Yeah, the Aldrich is just phenomenal. Wasn't he, I think, the youngest Korn Ferry Tour winner ever? Maybe?
Correct, yeah. So, I believe the AJGA Classic. So
yeah, really good kid. It was so fun watching him at the Junior President's Cup. One of those guys, we've talked about it on here before, where you like watch him hit, and it's just different, right? Mm-hmm. It's just, you know that he's going to do something because it's just so different how he hits the golf ball. The sound is different. The look and feel is different, all that. So.
Yeah, it was just cool to see, too, because, again, Brian Campbell had a great AJGA career as well, played a lot. I believe it was, how many tour winners have we had? Tour and LPGA now? It's 100-something.
200 and something total PGA Tour players, but we've got basically 1,300 wins between the PGA Tour and the LPGA Tour combined by AJGA alumni.
Yeah, and so crazy stat there, but just two like dramatically different styles of playing. So I think something that was cool, too, in that playoff, because Aldrich is leading the tour in driving distance, club head speed, ball speed, everything. Brian Campbell's towards the bottom end, but it just shows there's no one style of play that's dominant. I know like a couple years ago, everyone thought Bryson was going to break the game with how he was just getting longer and longer. Mm. Obviously, there are certain course setups, certain situations that helps, but it was just really cool to see the two guys on the polar opposite of the field being the ones in the playoff. Like, all right, who's going to get this done?
Yeah.
But 100%. Just crazy playoff to see that. The video of that drive is still awesome. I know I saw the clip of them going out to the spot and doing a toast to the tree afterwards.
Yeah, I saw that.
I thought that was super cool, but just good weekend of golf in general that they had there. A lot of good stuff going on in golf for us right now. So, yeah, we're getting towards TGL playoff time, getting hyped up there. But what did you bring to the table, Tim? What do we have today?
Mine's a little more sentimental. I don't know if you saw that Gary Woodland received the PGA Tour Courage Award for everything that he's kind of gone through with the brain tumor and everything that he dealt with. But just wanted to kind of bring that to light because he's just such a good guy, so genuine. I actually had the privilege of working the AJGA tournament he hosted. I think it was 2016, could have been 2015. But he was out there for that event, just interacting with the kids, interacting with the staff, just made everybody feel like they were super important. So it was really, really cool to see how he's been able to kind of come back from that. One of the things that I think is like, this was got me like all in the feels. He actually wrote like goodbye letters to his wife and his kids if he didn't survive like through the surgery and everything on the brain tumor, which is like, I mean, I can't imagine having to do that. But just a really genuine guy. Just kind of wanted to bring that up and talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, great story, great what he's done for the game, and really inspiring people. And I think he's one of those guys that everyone always roots for, just because, like I said, was a great guy before everything happened, continues to be a great guy. So it's cool to see him get honored in a way like that, that you know is going to mean a lot to him, mean a lot to his family, given all they've gone through. Because like you said, that's something you don't wish upon anybody. You couldn't imagine having to go through something like that. So the fact that he is where he is now, having dealt with all of that adversity, is very incredible, and just it's cool to see him get recognized.
Yeah, 100%. I also think we need to bring to light that we failed to put him on our all golfers basketball team that we did a few episodes ago. That was probably a miss on our part. His official profile is 6'1", 195. So certainly could have put him at the 2 or the 3 there, and probably had a lot of success. But that was on us.
Big body. No, producer Justin was not thrilled about that one, but
no, not at all.
But hey, he's getting his roses here. He's getting some credit. So
there he is.
Got to bring him back in.
Okay, the last thing I want to mention before we get into Miles, Luke Clanton. I mean, what a phenomenal story about what he's been able to do and kind of how the success he's had through that PGA Tour U program, and now what he did, at the Cognizant, and now he's got his tour card. I mean, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I think it's exactly what they were looking for with PGA Tour U, right? It's how do we identify this talent that's ready to go now, and not make them go through just the grueling pre-Q school process, because they've earned it. He's Gordon Sargent earned his card, obviously deferred his, but you've got guys now who they've got that ability to go compete right now. So it'll be interesting to see in the future. There's a couple other guys that's close. Koivin's really close. This accelerated program, I don't know if they thought as many guys would get there as they have. I mean, still, it's only a handful. We're looking at right now 2 and then potentially 3 here soon. But it's crazy to think that he's another one that a couple years ago is teeing it up with us, and then now he's out there competing at a very high level, and playing very good, very consistent golf. I mean,
just a machine, just a cut-making machine out there. So I think he's going to be one of those guys that's just going to earn a lot of money on tour. I don't necessarily know that he's going to win a ton of events, but he's going to win a lot of money because that guy just top 10s, top 25s like crazy. So.
Yeah. No, he's on a great run. It's fun to watch him and this young wave of guys that are coming in. It's funny. I don't know if you've checked out any of Full Swing. I know season 3 is now out. I don't know how caught up you are there, but Scotty at one point mentioned, he's like, yeah, I'm coming back as one of the old guys now, at like 32, 33. So it's cool to see how the game has progressed. And he's another one that Clanton, we talked about Aldrich leading the tour in distance. Clanton's like top 10 and in just a few starts with his averages. So it's crazy to see what those guys can do. Like, these young guys can move the ball. And I think that's sometimes shocking for some of those veterans, see like, oh, see what the kid's got. And then you watch them hammer the shot and they're like, all right, I couldn't do that at any point in my career, let alone now. So interesting to see those kind of different types of game out there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of young guns and younger guys, Miles is obviously one of our younger players, one of our youngest player of the year when he won it in 2023. So I'm excited to get him on here and chat with him. So we'll just jump right into it. Miles, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Miles, we really appreciate it. Been waiting for a while, hoping to get you on here. Obviously, you've had kind of a quick rise to stardom here at the AJGA and still some time left in that career. But you started out in those junior all-star events. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your start with the AJGA?
Yeah, I guess now that I think about it, my first AJGA was probably the Sunshine Cup, the charity event me and my buddy put on. That's, I guess, involved with the AJGA. But first real tournament was probably 2022. Just the Junior All-Star TP5 at Longleaf. I didn't play any more AJGAs after that for, I guess, until the next year of that tournament. And then that's kind of when I played well. Got an exemption, like a sponsor's exemption into the team TaylorMade, and played well there, and it just kind of wrote itself.
Okay, we need to talk about your first hole. I think it's your first AJGA tournament. I believe there might have been a few putts involved. So walk me through that first AJGA hole you ever played.
Yeah, I want to say I hit a pretty good drive. I mean, I hit in the fairway, then I hit this iron to, I think, like 30 feet. And I don't know who set up the golf course, but they were not very friendly on this pin location. This pin was like on the slope, and of course I was on the opposite side of the green, and I did it 15 feet by. Gave that one a little too much juice and put it at another 3.5, 4 feet by, and missed that one. And started off with a quick triple and a 4-putt. Never done that in a tournament. But it happened on the first hole of an AJGA. So of my first AJGA.
Yeah, get those nerves out on that first hole.
Yeah, it's like, all right, well, how much worse can this get?
That's awesome. What can you talk a little bit about that 2023 year? Because you had quite a bit of success, and obviously you're player of the year. But you started out like just playing, like you said, those junior all stars, and then the team TaylorMade event. So walk us through that year.
I played well in the 2 junior all stars. I pretty much played well in pretty much all year. And was able to get hot at the right time and won a few things. And it was kind of crazy going from a junior all-star to TPC junior players. That was just kind of cool. And was able to, I guess, play well enough to be player of the year.
And so, Miles, one of those signature moments that we think about, at least for me personally, was junior players in 2023. You're coming down the stretch with a 2-shot lead over Philip Dunham, a guy that you've grown up playing. You're from the same area, so have some familiarity there. You show up to what's maybe one of the most intimidating tee shots in golf, and it's the tucked Sunday pin down in that front right bowl, and you just go right at this thing. There's just no fear, and you stick it to about 18 inches, tap it in for birdie to head to 18. It's those moments that we kind of look at and think, like, this is a different breed, but personally, what's going through your mind in that situation when you step up to that tee?
Yeah, that hole kind of fits my with where that pin is. It's probably my favorite pin location over there on the right side. That day, I think the wind was off the right, so kind of making it a little easier to kind of draw something, hold it up in there. But when you stand on that tee, there's some like electrical boxes or sprinkler. I don't know what they are, but they're boxes like on the far side of like the over the next water and just on the hill back there. It's probably like right center of the green, and I was able just to kind of pick one of those boxes, and there's like a perfect gap wedge at the time, and I was just kind of able to kind of flight it like a little low draw in there, and there's a little slope there that just kind of feeds it in. And so being a lefty, it just kind of fits my eye with the spin and where the wind was. If the wind was the opposite way, it might have been a little tougher, but I wasn't thinking too much about the water. I mean, it was able to fit my eye, and as a kid, you're kind of sitting there like, oh, I'm imagining 17 and where that pin is. You're like, all right, can't hit it right from 140 yards, and was able to hit it where I was looking.
Just the casualness of that shot is crazy. There's no chance I hit that green with it doesn't matter what club I've got in my hands. I think we know that, Thomas. So that was 2023, obviously a lot of success there. And 2024, you're playing in more difficult tournaments, and you don't have quite the same finishes that you had in 2023. But you've kind of adapted, and you're really back to the top level of junior golf again with your back-to-back invitational wins. Can you talk a little bit about that transition and anything not necessarily changed, but kind of what you learned kind of through that whole process of 2024?
Yeah. I'd say 2024 was kind of a learning year. Kind of made some minor tweaks to things, and didn't really realize it at the time, but now looking back on it, it's like, why would you do that after playing such good golf? Um, it's just little things. Like I went to the eye doctor, and I didn't see. I wear contacts. I don't know, like some sort of prescription, and my doctor wasn't available, so the earliest I could get in was to see this other doctor. Otherwise, I couldn't see it. Like it was time for new contacts and whatnot, and they bumped me up to a little stronger prescription, not knowing that would do anything. But I started missing putts left and right, and like I'm hitting good putts. Started getting real frustrated, and that was probably at the start. That was actually right before Team Tournament this year. And then I mean that went all the way through. I think like U.S. Junior, USAM. But just like little things like that. Like I think I bumped it up like 0.5 or 0.25. I don't know what it is, but just a little bit, and it makes a huge difference. I got my old contacts back, and I started making pots again. Sometimes I don't know. It's not. It may not actually be you. Maybe something you changed. That was something. And driver this year gave me some problems. I couldn't really figure out the right head, right shaft combo. And golf's not easy when you're not from the fairway. So but kind of figured that out maybe end of August, and so everything's just kind of been kind of trending in the right direction for a little while now, and it's starting to have confidence back in. Like it feels a lot more like 2023 now than it did last summer. My game and the way everything is kind of going. But it was a year of learning. I mean, there's multiple other things that we tried and changed, and just realized that nothing you change is always better. So starting to be really cautious of what you do.
So that's got to be kind of a tough balance for you, right? Because you're at an age where you're still so young, you're growing, getting bigger and stronger. How do you find that balance between tweaking some things? Because like you said, you're playing good golf, and really, how much do you want to change when you're playing that well? So how do you balance that as you're getting older and as your game progresses?
Yeah. I mean, another funny story was that Team TaylorMade last year. I was kind of complaining about my hands. My hands are growing, and I'm like, maybe we try like another wrap of tape under my grips. And we tried another wrap of tape under my grips. Played it for the practice round in the first round, and it was terrible. I mean, I couldn't hit a green. It's like what? Like, how does just a wrap of tape make that big of a difference? It was just I kind of lost my feel with what I was able to do, yardage control, shaping shots, and so then we were scrambling, put different grips back on, and it was better the last 2 days. But it's hard because you're like, well, what if you find that just that one thing that could take your game from this to this? And it's like, well, I would happily try something to do that, but sometimes when your game's already here, maybe sometimes you don't need that big jump, or that little tweak isn't going to give you that big jump. So you kind of got to take it. You just got to take it things with like a grain of salt and figure out what's worth trying and when it's worth trying.
I want to talk a little bit about the Carlton Woods event. Obviously, that was back-to-back invitational wins. That was really big for you. I think probably the craziest shot that I maybe have seen you hit was not necessarily on your best hole, but on number 13 there for, I believe it was the second round, you kind of put your tee shot in the trees and the junk, and so you had a provisional that you hit, and you landed kind of short left of the green between two bunkers, and that green is really elevated. I mean, and no offense, but you're not really a tall guy, so that green was really far above your head, and you hit like the nastiest like chip shot ever to like 18 inches. Do you talk about that a little bit? I think you end up double bogeying the hole, so maybe you kind of blocked that one out. But like that, I mean, that chip shot was just disgusting.
Yeah, that was such a dumb play. I hit 3-wood off the tee for some reason, and I was hitting driver great all day, and like, let me hit 3-wood and keep it short of the water down there. And then the next 2 days, I hit driver because it was like I'd rather hit it in the water than and drop right there and make bogey than hit it in the trees with 3-wood. But now hit 3-wood in the trees, lost ball, provisional, hit 8-iron, kind of wind switched into and came up short left there, like you were saying, and I had an okay line. It was just something you had to just have something to fly on the green, and it kind of just trickles on down with where that pin was, but. It came out nice, and had maybe had a little bit of spin and just trickled on down, and it's just kind of it. What I was trying to do, it happened. I don't know how else to put it other than it just came out. It came out good.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I think at that moment, Tim actually called over the radio when that happened because he goes, Miles just made a double on this hole, but that was one of the craziest chip shots I've ever seen. It was just funny because then he's talking about, he's like, I don't know how many putts he's had on the day, but there can't be that many. And so, I think that's the day we asked you, how many putts did you have out there? And you're like, oh, let me think about it. Come in, you tell us it's 23. And it was just like, that's an unreal day.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good day on the greens.
Yeah, I mean, that's low. That's a good day on the green is an understatement. But it was funny, too, because Tim just mentioned he's like, we got to ask him. And I said, no matter what he comes in and says, he's going to look at us and be like, I had an all right day. And that's exactly what happened. So funny to see. Nice to see you stay humble out there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Let's transition a little bit. I want to talk, you mentioned it briefly earlier, but the Florida Sunshine Cup, that's part of our Cobra Puma Golf State Cup series and kind of what we do with juniors giving back. Talk about that tournament and your involvement and kind of how you got going with it.
Yeah. It was something kind of, I guess it was my dad, another dad, and maybe one other dad. But it was like, why don't you kind of if you like golf so much, why can't you kind of help find a way to kind of help out, raise money? And honestly, we were so little when it started. I think we were 8 or 9. It was kind of getting talked about, and it just kind of happened. And I guess you could say me and the other kid were like the founding members, so we're kind of like the captain of the 2 teams, if you want to call it that. But not much captaining going on, but yeah, now it's just a fun event. Raise money for the Nicholas Children's Hospital and the ACE grant program, which is part of the AJGA. But get together, I think it's 28 to 32. It kind of changes depending on the year, but get together, go play a Ryder Cup format, kind of match play, and just it's really more just a fun event, getting to see friends and hanging out. But there's definitely some bragging rights there.
Yeah, it's funny to see some of those environments when there's not a ton on the line other than bragging rights, but it does a lot for the mental game. And sometimes you see some of that best golf when, pressure's off and it is just a couple guys who are doing nothing more than playing just to be able to brag to each other about it.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of team golf, you had the opportunity to play for the United States in the Junior President's Cup last year up in Montreal. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what it was like for you playing on that team and having that experience?
I had a blast. It's such a fun week. Just getting to go and play for your country and getting to do something that I like, playing golf, doing something I love, and doing it for my country. That's pretty cool. It's such a cool week because maybe you're not playing against all your guys you're normally playing against, so you're not kind of as focused. I don't know how to describe it, but you get to play with them, which is pretty cool because usually you're playing against them, now you're playing with them, so it's a little different, but it's definitely fun. I guess as a team we were able to play well. I played okay that week, but I mean, it's just so cool. We getting to see kind of walk around with the pros afterwards and seeing the way they do things. It's kind of what it's something that makes you want to practice harder and go play good golf, and maybe one day you can be out there playing with them and you have the Junior President's Cup team there watching.
Yeah, that's awesome. Kind of speaking of Junior President's Cup, and Blades Brown was a part of that team as well, and what he's kind of done here over the last few weeks and months is certainly significant. You've competed against him for years. Kind of what are your thoughts on what he's been able to do recently, and does that kind of influence maybe what your next steps might be as well?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's different. If that was the right thing for him, that's the right thing for him. It may not be the right thing for me. It may not be the right thing for somebody else. But I mean, good for him. Hopefully he makes it and does what he's trying to do. But he's off to a good start. Last week he played well, and I don't know what he's trying to exactly do, but think he's in a step in the right direction.
Yeah, you've had a similar experience yourself, getting the opportunity to make some Korn Ferry starts and PGA Tour starts, and certainly that's not something that most 15 or 16-year-olds get the chance to do. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what that's like, making those debuts and competing at the highest level, whether it's Bermuda or at the Rocket?
Yeah, Korn Ferry event kind of just showed up. Not really sure what to expect, other than I kind of heard that there's not going to be putting contests going on the putting greens, which there were not. Um, but no, I mean, I kind of just showed up with my head down, but kind of focusing on myself, but kind of paying attention to what everybody else was doing, kind of seeing if I picked up anything, kind of could learn anything. I'd say that was more in the practice rounds because I had a couple good groups. But it was a bunch of learning. It was just a fun week. I was able to play well and make the cut, and keep playing well. But it was just a blast, those Korn Ferry events, and kind of maybe I playing well in the Korn Ferry events helped me get a spot into Rocket. Yeah, the sponsor exemption, and that week was just next level. Just to see the way everybody treats you, like if you need something, you can get it. You just ask, and it's like, all right, like I don't need this. Like this is like you're being too nice to me. Like I don't deserve this. So, but it was cool. Definitely something that, I mean, again, like the President's Cup, makes you want to be there. So makes you want to practice and kind of gives everything a little bit of a purpose. I wasn't able to quite play as well there at Rocket as I was hoping to, but I mean, it was just such a fun week.
And with some of that spotlight, like you mentioned, what advice would you have to somebody who's going through that for the first time? Because obviously you're very young. You've been in the spotlight for a while with how talented you've been, the success you've had at the junior level, but the tour is just a different game. The Korn Ferry is just a different game. There's a different level of coverage. You've got the cameras and the lights in your face. What was that like for you, and how would you advise somebody to handle that going through that for the first time?
Mm-hmm. For me, I have a good kind of group of people around me to kind of keep me sheltered from a lot of it. But main thing is just to have fun with it. It's not you're not doing it as your job yet. So there's really no pressure. You have to make a paycheck, or you have to make this putt to hopefully play on the weekend, to make a cut, to get status. Like there's none of that. So it's kind of like you're out there just kind of like a fly on the wall. Like you're just kind of trying to stay out of people's, staying out of their ways. Because last thing I want to go do is get in the way of you guys doing your job and setting up a golf course. Like I don't need to go interfere with that. So I'm just kind of staying back and just trying to learn little things, maybe how they do something, what they do here. Just little things. Like if you can pick up on a bunch of little things, that can add up to a big thing. And that's just kind of what I tried to do.
Love that. Okay, I've heard you're a big movies guy. So, do you have like a favorite movie, or I know you enjoyed watching some when you're on the road. What would you say is a favorite movie that you have?
Well, I don't know who told you I was a big movie guy, because I don't watch enough movies. But I don't know. I like kind of an action movie. I'd say kind of like some sort of military police. I don't know. I like the Top Gun stuff. I like planes like that. Like I like jets. Find those pretty cool. But probably say Top Gun.
It's a good answer.
I can watch that again and again and not get bored of it.
I love watching that on the plane when I'm traveling.
It's funny that you bring up Top Gun, because we were at Carlton Woods, and obviously there's the military ties at that event and everything that goes on. But we come home from the course one day. It's been a long day out there, and I walk by and Top Gun's on TV, and I was like, all right, well, I was going to go to bed, but I'm going to sit down and finish Top Gun. Like I'm not missing the end of that movie. So funny that you mentioned that, because that's one of those, I feel like anytime it's on, you've got to sit down and watch that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Miles, one other question that I've actually gotten questions asked to me about this hat for you, but the TaylorMade gray script hat that was kind of the signature of that season for you and everything, kind of that rise to fame. What's the story behind that hat, and kind of were you sentimental when you had to retire that one?
Yeah. for a while there, I've kind of switched up the last few tournaments. I'd kind of wear black with that hat or some sort of white or like gray blackish hat. I'd always kind of wear like a cream or gray with a black shirt and then that killer hat. And it was just kind of I don't know, it kind of started when I was little. And that hat I was sad to let it go because it fit so perfectly. Everything about it just kind of fit and it made me feel comfortable. I just liked it. But then after the summer and they stopped making them and it just wasn't the same fit with the other hats. It was definitely a little sad, but it was time to go. That thing saw enough golf.
It even got to the point where people were commenting on our Instagram, like trying to track down the hat. I mean, like, where did he get this? I can't even buy this. Like, TaylorMade's not even making it. And
I
I'm
know
just thinking,
yeah, it was something like because I was like, oh, maybe I can just go buy one or something. But no, they were nowhere. I'm like, I don't even know how I got it.
I'm pitching this one to TaylorMade as kind of my side hustle. Hopefully I can get in on a cut of this, but I think they need to bring back in a few years after you've won a couple tour events, the Miles Russell signature hat. And that thing's going to go triple platinum. Like every casual golfer is going to need that hat. They're going to have that one on.
Well, let's hope so. We've always kind of got a new hat going.
Speaking of TaylorMade, can you talk just briefly about how great of a partner they've been? Obviously, they're a huge partner of the AJGA as well. So talk about them a little bit and how they've helped you when you're trying to kind of make some of those small adjustments and things that you've talked about, how much of an impact they've had in your game.
Yeah, no, they've been great. Everything they do is just awesome. From sponsoring AJGA to sending me golf balls and sending the Florida Sunshine Cup golf balls and shag bags, like it's awesome. Like if you need something you can ask and they most likely are going to say yes. Like it's just I think they're the best club brand out there. They've been so supportive of me and helping me out with everything. Maybe a little difficult at times, but they always help me out and figure it out, and it's just been a good journey so far.
Really cool to hear about your connection with TaylorMade. Everything they've done for us has been phenomenal. So good to see them supporting you in that next wave. And that President's Day weekend with a couple of those big events, they had a lot of success out there. Between you and Asterisk both winning, she won out at Stanford. Those top tens were just packed with TaylorMade. So good to see them kind of making that clean sweep out there.
Big wins.
But Miles, one other question we got here from the office. A couple people in the comms department were fairly interested to find out, with some of those opportunities you've had out there, gotten to meet a lot of people, who is the most famous person you have in your phone?
Famous person I have in my phone? I don't know. I don't have any famous people on my phone. Like I don't know. You'd think I'd have just that person, but I don't know. I have a bunch of I don't know. I don't really have any. Yeah, honestly, it's probably morely from the people I get to play with in the junior amps. Um, those type of people, but I don't know. I'd have to get back to you on that.
That feels like a Stephen Hamblin plug. We'll probably have to let him know. He'll enjoy that.
Yeah, how many times have you played with Steven in the junior amp? Yeah, I'm sure you have his phone number, right?
Oh, I do. Maybe I'd say he's definitely one of them. If not the one, I guess.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, I think we're kind of wrapping up a little bit, but as you kind of look back at some of the experience that you've had in junior golf, and obviously starting with some of those junior all-stars and stuff, what would you say is like a piece of advice to a junior golfer who's 12, 13, really wanting to kind of get involved in AJGA events and really trying to kind of get their AJGA career going?
I don't know. I think it goes. I always say, like, when like a question like that's asked, is just to make sure you're having fun and keep it fun. Because as soon as it's not fun at a junior level, it's really not going to be fun when you keep going. The main thing, I mean, AJGA does a great job with that to keep everything kind of light and fun, and nothing's too crazy out there. But I'd say don't force yourself to do things. Don't push yourself to go and play in these tournaments and put a huge amount of pressure on you, because you'll have opportunities, and if you don't succeed in that first opportunity, just know that there will be another one down the road at some point. It may not be right then, but at some point you will, and you will take advantage of the opportunity like I was able to do. Um, and then it'll just kind of take off. The main thing is just having fun and enjoy it.
And something like that's great to hear from somebody like you who's had as much success as you've had. So hopefully people can kind of take that to heart. And I know, Tim, I told Miles at Rolex TOC, actually, he was the first person I'd ever handed 2 champion trophies to. Now with Carlton Woods, he's at 3. So he's building a bit of a commanding lead there. So very cool to see with him. But Miles, we really appreciate you coming on. Congrats on all the success. We really look forward to following your career here and seeing what you can accomplish this year as well.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks, Miles. You have a good rest of your day, and then enjoy your weekend.
All right, thanks. You too.
Great talking with Miles there. Tim, like we talked about, he's a guy we've been excited for a long time, just because he's a story that I feel like really took over the golf world for a little bit there in 2024 with
still very popular on social.
Yeah, making those Korn Ferry starts. I mean, he was all over the tour's Instagram, all over their socials, and really just kind of taking over the internet of like, who is this kid? That at one point, I think in his first Korn Ferry start, he was right around the top 10. If he wasn't at T10, he was pretty dang close. So great to have him on. Just great kid. Again, it's fun to watch him grown from that first AJGA event to now still being fairly young, still being 16 years old, and doing all these great things. Is just fun to see.
Yeah, I mean, I love that his process is like such the AJJ process too, right? Started out with the Junior All-Star events, kind of cut his teeth there, got some good experience, won some there, and then kind of made the move up into bigger and better tournaments, which is really cool to see kids do that, because the Junior All-Star Series is so key in that way that it kind of allows you to compete against other kids. I mean, the yardage is a little bit shorter, competing against those 12 to 15-year-olds versus, having a full lineup of up to 18. So really cool to see him kind of jump into that. But I just got a couple kind of news announcement things here that we've got to wrap up today. Our spring season kicking off, that's a big deal. Obviously, we got 4 events a week from March until basically the beginning of May. So our interns are on the road for us, so make sure you say hi to them. I know you'll be on the road too, doing quite a bit of training and stuff here in the next few weeks also. Yeah,
got getting ready to train the interns, do a lot of the rules training, a lot of everything, getting ready to set up those tournaments, give you guys the best experience possible out there on the road. So appreciate all the work they do. If you get a chance to say hi, get to know them on the road, make sure you do so. Good group of candidates coming in that we've really feeling maybe better than we have in a while. A really, really good pool, a lot of good experience coming in. So very excited to see how they do this spring.
Yeah, we can do some great content out there on the comm side. We had announced recently that Rose is endowing a Liberty National ACE grant. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, she was a Liberty National ACE grant recipient, so that she received those funds, and now she's seeing some success and being able to give back. Really cool.
Yeah, I mean, she's exactly what you're hoping comes out of that, right? They go on, they kind of fulfill their dreams, getting to play college golf, and then she obviously has that success that she's had at the professional level as well, which just right away winning that first event as a pro is still one of the coolest stories in golf in really cool. Years. So great to see her giving back too. She did a lot at the Stanford event that she hosted that I thought was really interesting, with having some conversations with parents, hosting a panel where she's having some of those tough conversations. Like, look, our kids you're not trying to hit a bad shot. Like if you hit a bad shot and you see your parent, your mom or dad's over there writing notes and they're all upset, it's like, yeah, I didn't try to miss that green. Like that wasn't, it's not like I intentionally was doing this to myself. So cool to see her with her dad in the room talk about some of those tough moments they had. And so hopefully some of that can kind of set in and give people kind of an insight into the mind of somebody who's had that much success and kind of her process and things that benefited and didn't benefit her playing junior golf.
Yeah, I love how personable she is. I mean, she was having one-on-one putting lessons out there with the girls, just talking, having great conversations. So really cool to see her kind of give back and everything that she's doing there. Speaking of giving back, too, also just announced a Chevron partnership with the Nelly Invitational, which is actually going to give the highest stipend that we've ever done to make sure that the girls that are of the talent level can actually come and play and not have to worry about those expenses. Kind of similar to what we're doing, the Liberty National Ace Grant, but just the whole field there is getting that stipend from Chevron. And then an exemption into a major for the winner, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is like, there's one thing, getting professional starts is obviously incredible. That's an unbelievable value that somebody can have. Getting a start into a major is unheard of. Like those aren't, you're not getting exemptions into these things. And the fact that the winner is going to be able to go out there and tee it up at the Chevron is incredible. So kudos to Chevron, what they're doing. Like I said, we've seen this trend, and the Justin Thomas event has elevated the stipend. Other events really kind of pushing that higher stipend to make golf more accessible, ease access to the game and to our events. And what they're doing is incredible. I mean, it's something very excited about. So big thank you to Chevron, all that they're doing and really investing in it. And so can't wait to see that one pan out, and can't wait to watch our champion then tee it up in the major.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. You know, it's really cool to see making sure that the best players can be there no matter what, right? So if you are the best player, then you're going to be able to make it there, even if, you know, you have a little more financial difficulty or whatever. So I think that's so cool that they're doing that. But that's kind of all the news and stuff I had. Anything else, Thomas?
No, we really appreciate Miles coming on. Again, thank you to all of our sponsors, everybody that makes this possible. Really fun getting started up for season 2. And again, just looking forward to where we go with this, getting some more great interviews for you guys. And if you ever have any insight, anything you want us to talk about, make sure DM us on all of our socials. Tim, you want to go ahead and plug those socials?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Great transition there. Yeah, follow us on social media. It's at AJGA Golf. That's on TikTok, as long as it's still around. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, all of that stuff. So follow us on all those channels. Feel free to DM us. We do get back to people on DMs for the most part. So if you have any questions or suggestions, do that. And then make sure wherever you're listening, make sure you follow us or subscribe, and also rate it 5 stars and give it a like or whatever on whatever platform you're doing, so that we can get it out to more people. So we appreciate everybody tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it, guys. And we look forward to talking to you again here soon.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Tim.